All right, Josh, good to meet you. Hey, everybody, welcome to Coffee and Cannabis. I'm Ardin, and today with me is Josh. Josh, if you want to introduce yourself and your company.
Hi, my name is Joshua Cobos. We have a flavor company and private label businesses. So we manufacture all of our flavors in-house, and then we also formulate our own gummies, hard candies, fun dip, chewing gum, things like that. And we're offering private labeling for cannabis companies in Oklahoma and in Washington State. And we have a manufacturing facility here in California in Glendale.
Okay, so one more time, because I'm a little high. So you've got Oklahoma, you've got Washington.
I'm a little high. Yeah, we actually started flavoring pre-rolls this morning. We tried like a grape with peppermint on it, and it came out really good. So I'm also a little stoned. I'm trying to get the coffee to wake me up.
Oh, good.
So we do private labeling, white labeling in Washington State and Vancouver. Where we offer gummies and hard candies that we can manufacture for different brands, as well as doing the same thing in Oklahoma. So we can manufacture and distribute in those states as well. And then our primary business is the flavor company, where we manufacture all the flavors in-house.
Okay, so for those products, they're all THC based?
All of the candies, yes, they're all infused with THC. And then the flavors are made here in our facility that's going to be GMP certified next month. And we source all of our ingredients from all over the world, bring them here, and then we start formulating all the different kinds of pineapple flavors we can make. We have a habanero flavor we just made. So like for today, I'm making a batch of gummies that's going to be a pineapple habanero. So it'll be sweet and spicy on the back end. So we're doing fun things like that.
Nice. All right, so let's back up a little bit. How old is the company, and what was the idea behind the company?
The company is about 1.5 years old. The idea behind it, my dad's right here, by the way. We're a family company. He's making a few batches of himself for himself right now. But the idea was that we came from the pharmaceutical arena, and we were doing a lot of compounding, which was manufacturing our own pharmaceutical products. And we were licensed in 26 different states, but a lot of the issues that we were trying to help with were like band, and it just wasn't. Sorry, can you see me now? Sorry.
Yeah, you cut out a little bit there. The issues you were having were?
Yeah, they were band-aid fixes. It wasn't really helping patients, and the healthcare arena is kind of like a tricky place. And it wasn't something that we were really happy with, even though we were doing pretty well in that industry. We looked at cannabis as it started to legalize, and we thought, what would be something fun and exciting that we can do? And we started looking at the flavors, started tasting products, and we're like, it's not like quite there. You could taste THC in some of these gummies, and it's like it didn't vibe with us. I'm sure some people like it, but for us, we were like, let's try to like get rid of that taste altogether. So my dad's best friend, Fabio, his father-in-law is a flavorist, and he used to be a chief flavorist for PepsiCo, IFF, Sanofi, which are like the largest flavor houses in the world. Mm-hmm. And we told him like, hey, we're going to fly you out here. We want you to try the THC products that are on the shelves right now and tell us what you think. And so we bought tons of different kinds of brands, brought them in-house. We had tasting tests and all this stuff. And mind you, he had never gotten high in his life. This guy's like 70 years old. He's from Sweden, where it's like they don't really do that over there. So for him, he doesn't know what it's like to be high. So he's tasting it, and we're like, dude, you're pretty messed up. He's like, I'm not high at all. You can tell that he's clearly high. But we were going through all the tastings, we're going through all the flavor profiles, and he's like, let me sit on this and let me see what I could formulate. A few weeks, month and a half goes by, and he comes back and he's like, I've got the right flavors. So he had manufactured all of these flavors that he had kept, from his years of learning with PepsiCo, with IFF, with Sanofi, taking them in-house and making them stronger, because there hasn't been a real need for flavors this powerful. It's kind of like power, because he said the way that bitterness works is that your mind will always know it's there. So you have to trick the mind into tasting other stuff in different hits so that your mind ignores the bitterness. So he was the mastermind behind the flavoring and the potency of the flavor. So like, for example, our competition would use 1 to 3% levels of flavor per batch, whereas ours are 0.1%. And so you're using like a third, like, much, much less than what normally would be used in flavoring products. And you're still achieving a great tasting product. So that's when everything started getting fun. And we started, making different kinds of candies, messing up, not knowing how to do it, installing exhaust systems and getting the right machines in, and really like perfecting like the gummy kind of production, the hard candy production, fun dip production, all those kinds of things. And we're like, wow, we're getting pretty good at this. It's pretty fun. So then that's when we had the idea that maybe we should private label for other brands that are from, California, and they want to like make their businesses bigger, and they want to get into Oklahoma, or they want to get into the Washington business. So we thought, okay, that's another thing we can do. We can use our flavors, and the best way to sell our flavors would to be private labeling for these different companies. And so that was the thought behind it.
Interesting. Yeah. And so how did, so you started with the business essentially, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how did you first find cannabis?
It was something we all did. We all smoked. Me and my dad smoke all the time. My brothers and I smoke. We all eat edibles. We all like getting high and hanging out and having fun. So it was like an easy pick, because we're like, let's do something, fun. Let's get into an industry that would be fun to get into. So that's how we got here.
Yeah. See, I come from the East Coast in New Jersey, where it was a lot of, Nancy Reagan. Huh?
Our flavorist is from New Jersey.
Oh, okay. Whereabouts?
Rainbow Trail is the street he lives on.
Oh, that's
I'm not sure what the area is,
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Jersey, and it was a lot of Nancy Reagan, just say no, pot is for losers, et cetera, et cetera. So I didn't get into cannabis until my 30s. And when I started using it medically for anxiety and depression. And so I've talked with different professionals in the cannabis field, and they all come in via different routes. Some people, it's a lifelong thing. They've been growing it since they were kids with their family. But some people, they started in corporate and they fell backwards into it somehow. So I always want to get that story out there of how people started. So this was a true family affair for you guys.
Yeah. We've been together for over 8 years now. I was in the IDF as a paratrooper for 3 years. And when I got out, my dad had just split up from his partners, and he was like, I'm about to start, a pharmaceutical company, and it's going to be my first time doing something like this. Like, would you help me? So I flew back from Israel, and, me, him, my brother Levi, and my brother Max, we all decided to like join forces and try, business out. We've heard the negative things about doing business with family, but you learn a lot, and it's been a lot of fun. And, a lot of, there's struggle involved, but there's also like, you get to trust who you're working with, and trust that you can lean on, different ways. And everyone is good at something else. So it's been really like a lot of fun. And that's how we came into this. So it's been a nice transition for us.
Well, one thing I want to ask you about is in terms of the struggle, a lot of people who want to get into cannabis hear about the absurdly high bar to entry, right?
Yeah. Want to do the private labeling.
Yeah. And so how did you guys manage to get through all the regulation hoopla? What was that process kind of like? And how do you find it now as the laws keep evolving over time?
It's just something you have to stay on top of. It's like anything, when you're going into it, you have to read everything. You have to know everything. You have to talk to the attorneys. There are fees associated with it, but once you understand it, you're in. You know what I mean? Like I'm sorry for such a vague.
No, it's okay.
It's very it's part of the process. I mean, if this is a business you want to get into, and if it was easy, then everybody would get into it. If it was as easy as just jumping right in, the bar is high a little bit, but it's not high enough where people can't get in. You know what I mean? It's a deterrent, but it's not. If that deters you, then maybe it's not for you, but I doubt it. I think this business is for a lot of people, because a lot of creativity happens here, not only in trying the product, but creating new product. You don't know who's going to come up with what in this industry, and that's going to be fun for everybody, right? No matter who comes up with it.
Yeah. And you guys, as I see you, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're kind of a side business, right? You're working with cannabis, but you're not a direct cannabis.
In the flavoring aspect, yes, we're servicing.
Yeah.
As well as private labeling, we're direct. So we have licenses in Oklahoma. We have licensing in Washington State as well.
Great.
They're separate businesses, but it's the same pool, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And you talked about some certification you're getting coming up. Could you talk a little bit about that? Because that's, outside my world.
Yeah. So we want to just have everybody knowing that, your products, the flavors that are being made here that are produced in like they call it GMPs, general manufacturing practices, right? So it kind of certifies that we are getting checked on by an outside board that we pay for to come and see our facility. And I think it's like once or twice a year they make visits and make sure that everything is clean. All of our SOPs are in order. There's no contaminants. Our things get out for testing, things of that nature. So it's just like a level of verification for the customer to know that when they go to produce products, if there's any pesticides or anything like that, because that could come from different sources, it's not coming from us. So it's a level of assurance. Is that
right? Well, that is one thing I want to talk about is educating your consumer on the safety of products, right? And I think that ever since the vape cart scare happened, I think that the media kind of likes glomming on to any stories that are in the vein of cannabis products are inherently dangerous. So I wanted you to talk about and advocate for yourself and companies like yourself doing the type of work that you have, just kind of riff a little bit, if you will, on, what, and also I'd love to hear what you think the potential upside marketplace is, right? Because people don't have a sense of the scale of this stuff, right? How big could it be? Cannabis it's everywhere, but at the same time, it's kind of obtuse to your average Joe on the street. So if you could just pontificate on that for a little bit.
Yeah, so, okay, I read the lawsuit against Juul page for page, and in it, the thing that they get in trouble for isn't, creativity, flavoring, tobacco was on the bottom. It was marketing towards kids. So they, essentially, and I can't speak for Juul, but this is what the government was saying when they went after them, saying that they purposely went for younger models that looked like kids wearing young clothing and marketing themselves as a healthier choice to smoking. And that's what pissed off, I think the government in that sense, was that they were purposely doing this and they were doing volumes of it, right? I mean, they were pumping out volumes and they were catching them with the flavors, but that was the last thing. It was mainly the advertising that got them in trouble. And you know how the media is. They'll blow up anything that'll catch your attention. So I think it was a mixed bag of those two things that really keeps an eye on the cannabis, because it's easy to point blame and it's a new drug. So they're trying to find holes in it, saying like, oh, this, they could have overdosed with this, they could have done this with that, whatever. There's pesticides in it. It's all that they're trying to go after. And those are only like a few bad players. And the rest, everybody here is trying to make great product for people to have fun with, get high, do whatever they want to do with it, but it's always just the few that make us look like the many, so there's that. As far as the scale, we're at the very infancy of cannabis, I feel. I mean, we're not even doing interstate trading. I have to set up facilities in Washington and in Oklahoma instead of having one facility in one place that can distribute to California, to Washington, to Colorado. So there, the business is booming. I mean, we're operating like we're Europe, for example, with not ability to trade with each other. So what's made in California gets sold in California. Whatever is made in Washington gets sold in Washington. So that's like, so there is an opportunity when interstate, commerce happens, and that's going to be very exciting. There's going to be a lot of people making money on transportation of the product. There's money to be made everywhere, in every direction. It's hard because you're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, and then you lose sight, you spread yourself thin, so you kind of have to focus on what you're doing, right? And so for us, we're focusing on 2 facilities, but we're also outfitting them for different purposes for the future. So when the borders do open up, which they will, and you can get product from Colorado or whatever, the facility in Washington will be primarily for beverages in the future, your beverage plant, whereas the gummy production will be taken all in-house to Oklahoma. But for now, we're piecing it out. You know what I mean? So those are the things that are coming. I think it's easy to see the big numbers now and see that's the top, when the top is much more than that. I mean, if you look at California and how many liquor stores it has, it's like 11,000 liquor stores. Now think how many dispensaries we have.
Right.
You know what I mean? And look at all the brands that are sitting on the shelves for liquor stores compared to how many brands we've got on the cannabis shelves, right? So I think there's like not even a tenth of what's out there in liquor stores. So the growth is going to be huge. Right now, you know, I know some people are doing, you know, $50,000-$60,000 in sales a day in dispensaries, and that's considered an okay day. You know what I mean? So it's like, so the room for growing is out there. The room for more brands is out there. The room for, I don't know, people wanting to come up with new products. You know, you see stuff on LinkedIn or on Instagram all the time when people are like, you know, I just infused pizza. You're like, hey, if people are gonna buy it, that's, you know, it's up to them. It's like a 2-for-1. You get to eat and get high, you know. So it's like, yeah, you know, you've got all kinds of things that you can be creating, and it's not limited to just candy. You know, the cannabis can be put into beverages. It can be put into food. Who knows what else they can put it into? I think they're thinking about doing topicals now too. So,
Yeah.
so it's endless. You know, creativity shines. So let's see what everybody comes up with.
So one thing I want to ask you about is California and Washington and Nevada and some other states have all gotten into this 100 milligram, 10 milligram per dose cap on anything THC based. Personally, I know there's a market for larger dose edibles, but it's mostly underground at this point.
Well, it's the medical market too. So if you
Right.
take a look at like Oklahoma, some people are putting 500 milligrams in one piece.
Mm.
You know, that's smack to the face. It's like, you know, they'll knock you out.
Well, that's what back in San Francisco, before it went to recreational, you could still do that. You know, you could walk into a dispensary as long as you had your medical card and buy something that was 500 milligrams in a small little thing, which was great for someone who needs a higher dose. But the regulations slammed down and said, no, we're capping this for any recreational. And in a lot of places, recreational makes much more sense than medical at this point. So it's hard, unless you go black market or gray market, it's harder to get your hands on higher dose edible stuff. But are you still producing stuff in higher level categories, or are you sticking to the 100 milligrams?
In Oklahoma, we're doing 25 milligrams a piece on some of them, and we're going to be testing out 100, and then, you know, trying to up it from there, and see what the market does and see how they respond to it. But you know, with the way that they're getting the THC potency higher, it you know, it's a different effect. You know what I mean? It does slam a little harder. I think the limits that they put on it encourage the black market. You know what I mean? Whereas if you were to give it, you know, free reign and make sure that they were under safe protocols, people would take it responsibly, like they do with alcohol to a certain extent. So I think that, you know, the government has a long way to go, but, you know, for them, it's like they're all learning on the fly too. So you can't bog them down. They're trying to keep it contained so that nothing happens out of control, because then they become responsible for that, you know? So I think you'll start to see, you know, them taking a looser and looser grip as we move forward towards interstate, you know, commerce, or shipping out to different countries when we start doing commerce that way, because you can sell alcohol from, you know, Russia to here, but you know what I'm saying? So it's like that will happen for us, where we could sell to Israel, or we could sell to, you know, different places like Spain or whatever, whoever legalizes it. So I think right now they're just trying to make sure that this is a safe market that they can let loose later on.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because you don't want people, you don't know what people can make out of this stuff. You know, I went to one lab the other day, and this guy had made this like white, like not white, but clear looking oil, like see-through, glass looking, right? And he goes, the potency on that will smack the crap out of you. And, you know, we tried it, and I was like, wow, this is like, I would never smoke this. This is really strong, man. I'll never smoke that again, you know, because sometimes it's too much.
Right.
But they kind of have to keep an eye. You know, some people want that, and I don't blame them, but like, you get what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what you can take the compound and turn it into in different processes. But I think that's what the focus is, you know?
Yeah.
Is that that control at first. But I think in 5 to 10 years, we'll be looking at a totally different industry.
Great. Yeah. I had a thought and check my notes. So let's talk fun stuff. Let's talk fun stuff. Let's talk products that you guys have made. What is the market looking for right now? And what's some new stuff that you're looking to offer the market to see how it responds?
So right now, I think that sugar-free is an option that people need to start thinking about, because you're gonna get fat off eating so many candies. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's another thing that I think the market might be excited about. I think it will attract more health-minded people who want to get high and either have a hard candy that's sugar-free or a gummy that's sugar-free. I think incorporating some of the fun candies we've had on, regular 7-Eleven shelves would be fun to see. Like some sort of, the Nerds Rope was out in the black market for a while, which was pretty cool, but no one really perfected it. So I think that would be cool. I think making it like, like kind of like Willy Wonka did, very much like open, come in, take as many candies and let the creativity ride. You'll have those operators come in when things become a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
But products are fun to make, man. It's you start with the concept, you perfect the concept, and then you're like, okay, now how do we make this in mass quantities, right? Consistently. So that in itself takes so much time. By the time you're done with that project, it's been like a month and a half, and then you're ready to take on the next product or the next project, So for me right now, we've been focusing on gummies, hard candies, and like a fun dip thing. That seems like a lot of fun for us right now. But I'm also looking towards beverages and things like that. So Ed is like stocked up on products, and he even said we could put it in salad dressing. And I was like, I don't know if anybody wants that in salad dressing. But,
You'd be the vegan crowd. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
If you did like a vegan organic salad dressing that was infused, because I have friends in many places who do their own like olive oil infused, and then they'll put that on a salad or whatever.
That's smart. That's good. See, we'll start to see that on the shelves too, like a grocery store for cannabis.
Yeah. Well, that's why, I want to talk about the fun side of this stuff, because like you said, there's a lot of creativity that goes into cannabis, right? In the many flavors that you come up with. A flavor I would love to see, and this harkens to jelly beans, is the toasted marshmallow one that Jelly Belly does. Like replicating that flavor in a cannabis product.
What would you want it in, a gummy or you want it in a jelly bean?
If you could do a jelly bean, do it.
But I could try. I could on formulas. I mean, it's all like practice until you get it right, and then all of a sudden you know how to mass produce it with the right machines and everything. The toasted marshmallow sounds like a fun flavor. I could talk to Ed about it and see what he says. He works on his own projects. He's got his rollouts, and if I try to connect, he's like, wait, I've got my own stuff going on. I'll give it to you when I'm ready. So like, okay,
because I mean, with the gummies and stuff, people stick to like the citrusy flavors or the fruity flavors, right? But I'd like to see some more interesting kind of flavor ideas.
A French cognac flavor that we can put in a gummy. It's pretty good. I mean, it really tastes like cognac. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. We thought about maybe doing like a champagne flavor, so that would be fun too. But something bubbly.
Yeah. That's the exciting thing about flavors, right? So let's talk about knowledge and expertise. What type of in-house knowledge do you have? Is it people? Is it, just learning? How did you get to this level of expertise in flavoring to be able to offer these types of products?
Mixed bag. So learning and having the right people. So Ed has like 45 years experience in flavoring and product development. I mean, he helped to recreate, I think it was 7-Up for like a leverage buyout. So he had reverse engineered 7-Up so that they could use it to buy out another company, so that they say, we don't need your formula, we've got our own. So he's the one who understands all these products, and he has all that knowledge, and he kind of fast tracked us with all of that stuff. I mean, he took us from 0 to 100. At first, it's overwhelming because he can go from beverages to salad dressing to candies to whatever, and he's talking about flavoring them all and how they all work as products, because he's like our Einstein. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He really knows what he's talking about in detail. So it's like, so we had to pick a category and start there. With this, we started with candy. Next, we'll go to beverages because the volume is a lot larger. But yeah, it was a mix of listening to Ed and understanding how he does things and how product development works and how you have to write everything down and how you have to go step by step methodically until you get it right, because you could have one change that can change the whole thing. You know what I mean? And you have to be able to trace back, what it is that you put in that could have caused that discoloration or distaste or whatever. So it's a lot of things. So it's over a year and a half of learning and keep learning. And you're just gonna there's so much to learn. There's just so much to go over. You know what I mean? There's so many so many products you can do. So
nice.
Yeah.
Quickly, I want to talk about the name because I'm a bad Italian. I don't speak my own language, because I'm an American. Wait, what am I going to do? But Dolce, I know, is sweet, right?
Yeah.
But then Foglia, right? Leaf. Okay, sweet leaf. So what was the impetus behind that?
Fabio was the creator of that name. He's my dad's best friend. He's one of our partners.
Yeah.
He really loved that name. He's like, we'll be Dolce Foglia, sweet leaf. And he's Argentinian, so he's not even Italian. It was really funny. So we said, okay, Fabio, we'll call it sweet leaf. Dolce Foglia.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's because when you think about it, cannabis being a leaf, and sweet, you're adding sweetness to it. It just works. Yeah. It's synergy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a fun name. It's hard to tell people when you're trying to give them your email. It's like, he has a dog. Oh, is it Oswald? Like, it's like so. It was, next time we'll pick an easier name. Three words, 3 letters, something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, for now, it's a wonderful name. If people go to your website, what are they going to find there? Because as they become interested and see this interview, they're going to want to find out more about you. So,
yeah. So we got blogs on there. We have our flavors for sale, and this week I think we're going to be rolling out CBD hard candies, gummies, with all of our flavors inside them for people to taste. So, it'd be an easier buy for them. So, like, let's say they want to buy the flavor, but they're not sure about it yet. They could buy the candy for a really cheap cost. Get it in 2 to 3 days and taste it and say, oh yeah, I like this. I want this flavor in my candy. So we offer flavoring and CBD candies on our Dolce Foglia website.
Nice. And are you doing social media as well?
Yeah, we have Instagram and TikTok, which I got 100,000 views in like a week and a half for rolling out hard candy. I was like shocked. I had never gotten that views or likes like that before in my life. So that was pretty fun.
I'll tell you a quick hack to the internet. Anything that is process-based and you can put some good music to is going to get hits.
Yeah, 100,000 views. I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, I'll send it to you. And you'll be like, what the hell? So this got 100, like 3 seconds.
I'm half tempted to do a whole series of me just building stuff in Lego over time with the soundtrack.
Oh, that's good. People like that. They'll watch it on YouTube, especially if it's fast forward.
Exactly. Actually, the fast forward button on YouTube, setting the speed to double pace, has been the best thing. Because I like a lot of educational content because of learning stuff. But a lot of the presenters, because it's a novice audience, they speak for that audience and slowly. But I'm in a hurry. So I hit double speed and it truncates and takes all the pausing and everything out. And I'm like, this is great. It was a 20-minute video. Now I'm done in 10 minutes.
Yeah. Do you do that with podcasts too?
Oh, yeah.
It's fun. I like that too. It's cool.
And you can do it with my videos because I still get the view time. So
still get the full view time because now it's just faster. That's pretty smart.
Yeah. Life hacks. Yeah. So I think, for me, cannabis has a bright future, right? The horizon is eternal. Our neighbors to the north legalized, our neighbors to the south are working on it. Washington's working on it for all of us. Like you said, Israel's already growing and selling intercontinental, Argentina, I believe, Portugal. Yeah, I think parts of Spain. So, this is, for me, the sky's the limit, right? And I'm sure for you guys as well. You've mentioned that Washington, Oregon, California. Where do you see beyond that, right? 10 years, 15 years out?
We want to kind of be the premier flavor house for cannabis. People come to us for product development. People come to us for flavoring needs. We definitely want to be there for as many projects as that we can help take on, because we're very hands-on with all of the projects we do, and we love seeing it all the way to the end and everyone's satisfaction. So that's the future for us. In 10 years, we really want to be like the big guys of flavoring in cannabis, really helping as many brands as we can get to market and all that stuff. Yeah.
Great. You got people sneaking behind you to do work.
Yeah, they're working on different stuff, so they're coming and grabbing.
So you guys are obviously busy right now. Do you find that there's a seasonality to your stuff, or are things pretty consistent?
There is seasonalities. In December and January, things kind of drop off, and people kind of like, do their own thing. You got New Year's, you got other stuff that they want to do, and then February is when everything starts to really pick back up. So this is like the nice lull time where you can like reorganize yourself and get everything that you need to get done before everything gets busy again.
Mm-hmm. And then how do you find marketing right now?
Very difficult.
Very difficult. Yeah. Talk a little bit about that.
That's why we're doing the podcast, trying to get ourselves out here with people like yourself, where we try to do ads in High Times, in different magazines and stuff like that. You can't really advertise flavoring for even CBD that much. You can, but sometimes it doesn't go through for Google ads or any of that other stuff, right? So like the website marketing that gets a lot of traffic isn't as easy, but it's happening. It's still keeping us really, really busy. So it's not that bad. It would be easier if they let us directly do these things for cannabis, but in time, it's also a barrier to entry. So that's also a good thing for us.
Right. Everyone's dealing with the same hurdle.
Yeah. So it's whoever gets creative, urinals, the urinal cake things people used to do back in the day. It's like, you got to think about stuff like that, something creative. So, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of stuff, there's a lot of guerrilla marketing tactics that work in terms of like for brands. If you've got enough money to put behind the man hours to put a man on the street flyering or doing whatever, it works. And unfortunately, right now you can buy a billboard, right, anywhere for cannabis, as long as you've got the right info on it, that anyone can see. But if you want to do a targeted ad to people 21 plus, you're boxed out.
I know. Any at all.
So that's why I like to talk marketing with everybody, because I want to know how people are facing it. And obviously you've put thought into it, but it doesn't seem to be your main focus right now, because product first.
Yeah. They're consuming the product. So it's, right now we're like pushing production to larger and larger numbers, and really trying to push everything out, getting ahead of the orders is what we're focusing on, which is a good thing. It's a good problem to have. So for us, marketing hasn't been an issue, because the marijuana markets itself, people are going to the dispensaries and looking around and asking around. So that's easy. You know what I mean? Doing displays in the dispensaries as well is helpful. Helps get your brand out there, especially if you can offer something like nicer for the dispensary to like put more shelves up or whatever.
Right.
So there's that stuff. Yeah.
And then let's talk kind of internal structure stuff. As you guys get more customers, increase your base, do you see yourself increasing headcount? And, in what areas would you be increasing headcount? Because, everyone's looking at the economy tanking right now and people losing jobs left and right. So I want to put hope out there for people that, yes, there are companies looking to hire, if not now, in the near future. And these are the areas they need people.
2 to 3 months, we're going to need in Oklahoma and in Washington, and then possibly here in California and Los Angeles, people to work for gummy production and for hard candy production. So we'll need that for labor, as well as logistic people. We're going to need, let's see, more food scientists. We have a few on staff now, but it's always good to have more, just for the diversity, and when they work together, you start to see the different things that they can create. So there's definitely room for us, a lot of room for us to grow. We're trying to organize, execute, and then get to that level so we can take in 2 to 3 employees at a time. You know what I'm saying? And properly train them, because once you get things going, then it starts to be about managing everything and making sure everything's aligned, and moving forward and adding another, production line here. And so there's definitely a lot of room for us to grow, and we're going to be hiring soon. I think 2 months for sure. We're going to start needing a lot more hands.
Well, that's great. That's excellent news.
So, hey, I'm looking for you. Anybody who's looking to be a candy maker, come on in. That's what we're looking for.
Well, what's the what are the qualifications, and what's the onboarding like?
Attention to detail. I mean, in today's nature, it's like you hear a lot of people say that you don't really need the degrees, you don't really need this or that. You really just need somebody who cares to learn and cares to be there. That's the person we're looking for. Whether boy, girl, whatever. We want anybody who cares to learn, because this stuff can be learned. You can train anybody to do anything, right? It's just the caring part is the hard part to find. So we're looking for people who care and really want to make a difference, and get creative with it as well. I'm not going to say, hey, your job is only this. Like, if you come to me with a new idea for products, man, I'm going to be there with you, learning about how you got there and how we're going to do this. So very much like that. Yeah.
That's excellent, man. I mean, that's the message I want to put out there to people, is that, you feel like cannabis, you need some sort of expertise, be it, botanical, hydroponic, what.
Oh, you can learn it all on the job too. It's just, if they know it, you can know it. You know what I mean? It's not like it's a big secret. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like when people get in that head where it's like, oh, well, he's a specialist. Like, hey, you could be a specialist too if you spend just as much time as that he does, that you will. So it all comes down to whether you care or not. That'll make you successful in whatever you do.
Excellent. That's fantastic. I just want to check one thing here as we're rolling. All right, we'll do 1 or 2 more topics, and then I'll let you go, because you're obviously busy making delicious stuff. What do you got brewing over on the side there?
I'm making I'm not making hard candy. I'm making gummies. Sorry, and I'm splitting the batch into 3 different groups, and then I'm gonna flavor them, color them, add the acids, and then I got this cool mold, and it's in the shape of you remember the Mario character, that plant that would like run around with its big head? So that's the shape of the head.
Okay.
So I'm experimenting with that just for fun, because shape is important as well, because what you eat with your eyes. So I'm just working on a few little things here.
So when it comes to shaping, are you making your own molds, or are you licensing molds? How are you doing it?
We're making our own molds so that our designs are unique. Shape is important to how you see things. Like you with your eyes. That's what my friend, he's a chef. He always told me that, and that was just like ingrained with me. I'm like, he's right about that. When you go and get sushi, it's like when they give you the nice 2 pieces and it's like all decorated, you're like, that looks good. That's like part of the taste as well. It's the experience. So trying to understand whatever different experiences we can offer.
Yep. And speaking of the looks of it, when it comes to coloring, that's the other side of it, right?
Right. Yeah. Natural colors is what we use.
Natural colors. So food-based colors?
Yeah. It's not hard to work with. It's pretty cool. I mean, they're not as vibrant as the other ones, but it works. You try it out, different variations. Sometimes the acid lightens up the flavor, so that gets you to the place where you want to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then let's talk packaging. How are you guys sourcing packaging? And then are you thinking sustainable packaging in the future?
Yeah, my brother is really big on sustainable packaging. My little brother, Sage, he's actually taller than I am. He's like 6'3". He's the one who's been showing me different packaging companies that we can switch over to. The cost isn't quite there yet, and so I have to increase my volume to really meet those kinds of packaging requirements. But yeah, we're looking towards reusable packaging as well. That's going to come in the future, though, when we have a lock on, that kind of volume to afford it, because you're gonna have to buy that in bulk and then print them out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like almost there, but not there yet. You know,
Yeah.
you think about it every day though. He's like, you keep creating trash. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what else you want me to do. It's the only way I can do it right now. But you know, like, you try.
Yeah, well, it's important to let people know that part of the problem is it is price based, right? There's a price economy pressure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but I talked about the packaging apocalypse back in what was it, 2018, I think. California switched all its regulations, and everyone had to destroy or sell off all their product in like a month. It was
Yeah.
nuts, uh, and that's part of the buying in bulk consideration is right. Like, should something change? Now you're sitting on all this packaging that has to be wasted because it doesn't meet XYZ requirement.
Right.
So that's another consideration when it comes to picking your packaging. Is it potentially future proof, right? If something changes down the road.
Yeah.
Or,
That's the question you have to ask yourself. You don't want to do one run or two runs or only do it for like 6 months. You want to know that if I switch, this is what I'm switching to
yeah.
until I find something more sustainable or whatever next comes up. But again, like those are opportunities for other people to create different businesses that'll be profitable for them. You know, you give me sustainable packaging, I'll buy from you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's money to be made everywhere. You just have to find the right people who want to go and do that, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
you know, Elon Musk, for example, he's the one who did the electric cars, right? And now it's you know, so it's like that's something that people are going to go after because he created a good product. Same thing can be done with packaging, you know.
Well, speaking of that, that's changing battery technology, which impacts cannabis, right? Because backup battery systems for power outages to run the lights and all that sort of stuff, security systems, all this stuff. It everything touches cannabis, and cannabis is starting to touch everything. Is the kind of narrative I'm trying to weave with all these interviews is that every industry is helping every industry, and you know, cannabis flavoring is leading towards other things because you're finding other places you can apply the same knowledge.
Right. I'm still really high. So I'm following along, and then you know when your eyes zoom out, you're like, it's like, sorry.
No, it's quite all right. You know, cannabis should be fun. Cannabis should be light and entertaining. So yeah, I did a whole kind of deeper talk with a friend of mine about the kind of early days of cannabis prohibition and things like that. And that was kind of the heady stuff. So I want to talk about the lighter end of stuff with this, you know, and the fun. So, you know, I'm trying to get to a question about your customers being like the end customer, right? The person who actually consumes it. You know, what do you see in terms of demographics there?
It's how you market it. You know what kind of packaging you're picking. You see a lot more male millennials as buyers, but I think it's because of the branding. If there was more, you know, cute, fun, well, cute doesn't have, but more female branded products, you'd have increase in female sales, I think. But right now, if you go to the shelves, you see it's like heavy hitters, this, that, whatever. You know, it's like very much like, you know, stuff that girls probably won't buy. So like, you know, like rosé, a flavor like rosé would be something I feel like girls would buy, right? So it's how you market it. Older generation still has that negative connotation with cannabis, so walking in there for them is like with sunglasses on, so no one makes eye contact with them. You know, you see that sometimes, which is kind of funny. But it's opening up. I think what for the older generation, this is just speculating, it'd be easier if they did more delivery systems to nursing homes. You know what I mean? Where it's like that you go to them because it is really difficult for them to come to you. I actually know a guy, he had a dispensary and he was busing them in. He would send a bus.
I read an article about somebody doing that.
Like, dude, that's a great idea. It's like, yeah, they'll come with money and then they leave all happy. They're all stoned on the bus. They get on, you know, so there's a lot of great things with it. Just different. The way it's set up now is more for our age. You know what I mean? It's more for us than anybody else because we're the ones running it, right? So
Yeah.
if it was an older generation running it, you'd see it more tailored towards them, but it's more, more geared towards our needs and what we're looking for, So
Yeah, I think for me personally, my brand is more chill. It's, the heavy hitter or extreme that's not what I'm looking for.
yeah,
I'm looking for like glue me to the couch. I couldn't care about the world outside. Like I just want to chill. That's the brand I want.
You're targeting yourself in a sense.
Yeah.
Like-minded people. So again, it goes to who's running it and who are they most like, and that's kind of what you're starting to see on the shelves is people like, the fun guys, this guy, the chill guy, so it's like, it's a lot of that on the shelves right now. But yeah, I see a lot of women-owned brands coming soon, seeing that there's a need for it, a big demand for more female products, right? Something more fun, not so bold and guyish. Yeah, so I see all, it's all speculation at the same time. I'm not like some guru, but it is, see that there's openings. But,
yeah, well, I've been speaking with some female-run brands, and they lean much more health, holistic, mindfulness.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're probably going to be the first ones to do that.
Yeah.
So.
But, as you mentioned, you're looking sugar-free product, you're looking different offerings that can come into play in those arenas. So, and because you white label, right? So if there's a brand that wants your product mixed with their product, they'll find you for that.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to do a brand out in Oklahoma or Washington, let me know.
You never know. I look good on a button. I might look good on a piece of packaging. So.
All right, that sounds good. Yeah, we're in Marietta, Oklahoma. What's that? Oh, okay, cool.
Where in Oklahoma are you?
Marietta.
Marietta. Okay.
An hour from Dallas.
Huh. Interesting. I have a friend out in Dallas, so yeah.
It's worth a trip. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Well, I won't keep you any longer. This has been fantastic.
Yeah.
If you have any parting thoughts or anything, feel free right now to just tell the people.
Come find us, come connect with us. We're always open to taking meetings and seeing where things lead. You never know. It's always fun and exciting to meet new people, especially how hard it is to meet new people these days because everything's closed, especially California. So welcoming emails, welcoming phone calls. Let's talk about a project. What are you guys thinking about doing? If you're thinking about getting in or if you're already in and want to help expand your line, we have options that we can help.
Great. And I'll make you spell the website for everybody.
All right, it's dolcefoglia.com, DOLCEFOGLIA.com, and our Instagram is @dolcefoglia. Our Twitter, our TikTok account is dolcefoglia. It's spelled the same way. Try to be consistent with it, but sometimes I might miss. You have to do an underscore somewhere. But yes, find us, say hi to us. We're a family company, and we welcome creativity.
Excellent. Well, Josh, thanks for joining me on Coffee and Cannabis today. This has been very educational and enlightening. And I'm hoping that people will not only find you, but find this message and resonate with it.
Yeah, thanks for setting this up and everything. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Well, until next time, thanks a lot, Josh, and we'll see you.
All right, take care.